the Honorable Kasim Reed.
Wow, Happy New Year, everybody. Wow, you all look amazing. I tell you, if we go over time today, don't blame me. Sandy and I were sitting there talking about it really feels like a party in here. We were enjoying it so much. Well, good morning. Sandy, I want to thank you for that kind introduction. Your presence at this event and the work you do for our community means so much to me personally. Everyone in the room, please join me in giving Sandy Douglas and his lovely wife, Jessica, a warm round of applause this morning for hosting us. It is my high honor to be here, as it is every year, to reflect on and recommit ourselves to the great responsibilities we have, to our citizens, to our city, and most importantly, to one another. It's an honor to serve today as it is every day as your mayor. It was in the time of men like Ambassador Andrew Young, who is here today, Mayor Sam Massell, who is here today, men like Robert Woodruff and Reverend C.T. Vivian, that Mayor Hartsfield called us the city that is too busy to hate. Today that is still true. And it's also true that our city is too busy to listen to long speeches. So I promise to keep my remarks shorter than I did last year. Yeah, I got that message. By any measure, citizen safety, financial strength, the rate at which we're attracting new businesses to the city of Atlanta, we have accomplished so much together. And really, we have built on what others have done over the last 40 and 50 years in our town. After every milestone, after each success, we didn't get tired. We do what we do in Atlanta. We turned to the next challenge. We've turned back into the fire and kept pushing again and again. And because we've pushed together, we have known success together. And I want to thank some of my partners in that success, many of whom are here with us today. The Atlanta City Council, led by President Caesar Mitchell. Please give them a round of applause, and please have the council stand and be recognized. Chief Judge Christopher Ward and members of our city's judiciary are here today. Please let them stand and be recognized. You will never go wrong keeping a judge happy. The city's Consular Corps is here today. In Atlanta, we have more than 70 members of our Consular Corps. Would our Consular Corps please stand? And to my friend, Paul Bowers, Chairman of the Atlanta Committee Progress, and all of the members of the Atlanta Committee for Progress, and Hala Maldomag, the leader of the Atlanta Metropolitan Chamber, thanks to both of you. Please give them a round of applause. And to all of the local elected officials with us this morning, and members of my cabinet and my senior team, I want to thank you for your teamwork, because what I definitely know after 6 years is I really can't do this without you. I also want to thank each and every employee of the city of Atlanta. And wherever you are, I want you to stand up and give our employees a huge round of applause. They are... If you get a check with my name on it, please stand. also like to recognize my wife, Sarah Elizabeth. Would you please stand and let everybody see you? And my mom and dad are in the house, Junius and Sylvia Reed. Please give them a round of applause. Love you, Dad, Mom. I want to thank my stepmother, Dr. Roxburgh Phillips Reed, my mother-in-law, Susan Peace Langford, and my brothers and their better halves, Charles, Carlton and Joyce, and of course, Tracy and Crystal Reed. My family support means the world to me. I love you all with all my heart. By any measure, our city is safer. With 2,000 police officers on the street, thousands of families feel safer in their homes. Crime is down 24% in the city of Atlanta since the start of my first term. And even after a very tough summer, I know that we'll push that number even lower by the time we're done. We're also going to make sure that our officers and firefighters and public safety personnel receive the raises that they deserve, as we have for lieutenants and sergeants already, as I promised. By any measure today, our city is financially stronger than before. In partnership with the Atlanta City Council and our employee unions, the City of Atlanta carved out a new path for pension reform, saving the City of Atlanta $270 million over 10 years and $500 million over 30 years. This reform has now withstood not one, but two legal challenges and was upheld by a unanimous vote of the Georgia Supreme Court. I don't think any decision that we have made was more important than the decision we made to move forward with pension reform. On my first day in office, I'll take a clap over pensions. That was a long 2 years. On my first day in office, we had just $7.4 million in the bank. Today we have $150 million in the bank. Paul, I'd say that's a pretty good return year over year. We've balanced the budget 6 consecutive times without any increase in property taxes with the help of the Atlanta City Council. In fact, we've kept the rate flat or rolled it back. And the major credit rating agencies have taken notice, upgrading our credit rating 7 times in a row. And I'm going to New York in just a few weeks to ask for another. By any measure, our city is a more desirable destination, with more than 50 million visitors supporting 220,000 jobs, making the city of Atlanta one of the 4 most visited cities in the United States of America. We have reasserted our position as the dominant economy of the Southeast. Our housing market is rising again, returning to pre-recession levels. We've created more jobs inside of the city limits and attracted more companies to relocate here than at any time in the past 30 years. When we started, unemployment in the region was 10.2%. Today, it's less than 5.5%. And believe me, Atlanta has contributed its fair share of jobs to that number. And Hartsfield-Jackson Airport today stands alone as the busiest passenger airport in the world, handling 100 million passengers last year, a record that no airport on earth has ever achieved. And for you business folks out there, we're very close to signing an agreement for a $6 billion capital program that's going to keep you all working for quite some time. Y'all can clap for $6 billion. If that doesn't get it, I might as well sit down. I want to thank Delta Airlines, and I want to thank Richard Anderson, who isn't here today, but without him, we would not have had the success we've had as a city. Please give it up for Richard. In the year 2015, we celebrated 13 companies either moving their headquarters to Atlanta or making significant corporate expansions within our city limits. But 2 years ago, it was the Coca-Cola Company that led the way, moving hundreds of tech jobs back to North Avenue and back to downtown to really lead this resurgence. I want to recognize Sandy, and I also want to recognize its chairman and CEO, Muhtar Kent, for believing in us. Because when Coca-Cola leads, others follow. And believe you me, others have followed people into the city of Atlanta. Y'all can clap for Coke. Thank you, Sandy. Business after business is choosing to make our hometown their hometown. As they move in, jobs continue to grow. Our development authority, Invest Atlanta, had hoped to create 6,100 jobs last year. Well, we hit that number by July, and then we smashed through it. By the end of the year, we had created more than 10,000 new direct jobs. In fact, over the course of our administration, our efforts have created 23,855 new jobs with a total capital investment inside of the Atlanta city limits of $3.6 billion. And last year, we had $2.9 billion worth of building and new construction permits, the highest level the city has ever reached. And now it's great to have companies that choose the hub of the Southeast as their headquarters for their operations. But my friends, the question for us now is, what are we going to do with all of that success? Where do we steer this momentum to make ourselves worthy of it? And how can we ensure that everyone who has called Atlanta home and who has believed in Atlanta when others did not share in that prosperity? I've been thinking about it. I really don't think it's enough to cut ribbons if we're not also continuing to cut crime in every part of our city. I really don't think it's enough to break ground on new buildings if we're not also shattering glass ceilings and breaking barriers to opportunities. It really is not enough to see companies set up shop here if we don't also set up the next generation for a shot at success within those companies. Atlanta doesn't want to just be the place where our children grow up, proud that their city has the busiest passenger airport in the world. We want that same child to be proud that his city is too busy to let the block he grows up on determine whether his dreams can ever take flight. We don't just want to be the place where a child grows up hoping to work at a terrific business, a great company in her hometown. We want that child to also dream about starting her own at places like Switchyards and Tech Square Labs and Atlanta Tech Village. We want them to dream new dreams. In my view, we need to take 4 concrete steps to create a more inclusive and broader city and sharing economy. First, we need to ensure that Atlanta prospers in the economy of the future. Second, we need to open access to higher education and strengthen the educational system that we have. Third, we need to keep our neighborhoods affordable and vibrant. And fourth, we need to support our city's families in a way that we haven't before. Let me tell you what we're doing to succeed on these 4 fronts. and how, if we join together, we can do even more, even faster. First, we're making Atlanta ready for the key ingredient of the economy of the future. Of course, that's technology. As we speak, Google Fiber is laying the technological groundwork for Atlanta's economic growth in their largest deployment in any American city. And of course, Bill Newdy and NCR, the consumer technology giant, will soon open a $250 million new world headquarters not far from here in Midtown, right on the steps of Georgia Tech. We have to make sure our citizens get the skills they need to fill the jobs these companies and others are bringing to the city. That's why our partnership with our universities like Georgia State and Morehouse and Spelman and Clark Atlanta and ITC and Emory, all of them, is so important. Of course, that starts with education, which is why expanding access to education is the second step we're taking to create a fairer, more equitable Atlanta. I'm so proud that last week, the City of Atlanta and the Atlanta Board of Education came together to ensure both the Atlanta public school system and the Atlanta Beltline have the resources they need to grow and to serve our children and residents. Please give the members of the school board an appropriate round of applause for betting on the future of Atlanta. And when I hear the story, since this city is my home, her citizens are also my family. And when I hear the story of one of our neighbors who's making it, that is what makes our accomplishments have texture. It makes them more meaningful. When I meet our smart, striving, and promising young Atlantans, and I meet them everywhere in grocery stores, on the street, in supermarkets, and I see them succeeding, and I see them having a chance, I'm as gratified as if their successes were Maria Kristen's. Young women like Tanisha Anderson, who grew up surrounded by crime on Campbellton Road, not far from where I grew up. Her father's heart gave out when she was just 12, and her mother's path was derailed by drug use. But Tanisha didn't stop. She studied, she worked, and she saved. And the Mayor's Youth Scholarship Program helped her focus on her books more than her bills. Guess what? Y'all can clap for Mayor Franklin for starting the Mayor's Scholarship Program. By her sophomore year, Tanisha had 5 scholarships offering her more than $50,000 to pay for her studies. She just needed a little push, needed a little help. Today, she's not only the first in her family to graduate high school and the first in her family to graduate college, but she did all of that, and she did it with honors. You see, I'm inspired by young men. I'm inspired by young men like Lance Bennett, who left Morehouse at the end of freshman year, not knowing if he'd be able to afford to go back for his sophomore year. His parents stretched and made it possible until he too found the Mayor's Youth Scholarship Program. Now he's on the Dean's List in an honor society and getting ready to graduate this spring. And Mrs. Jackson, his hero and model, is Mayor Maynard Holbrook Jackson. If we really believe that the city of Atlanta is indeed a special place and a different kind of city, we must make sure that folks have a fair shot and a fair shake at life. All my life, I've met people who just wanted a fair chance. It's one of the reasons why I got in politics. They never begrudged other people's success. What they've always wanted is an equal opportunity, not a guarantee of an equal outcome. We're going to do our part today to make sure that they have an equal opportunity. Because if you're willing to study in the city of Atlanta, we should put a book in your hands. And if you're willing to work in the city of Atlanta, we need to be able to put some work in your hands and a job in your hands. And if you keep at it, we'll put a paycheck in your hands. And if we stick together, I think we'll go back to the days when we were putting dreams in young people's hands. In keeping with that same spirit, today, I will ask the Atlanta City Council to transfer the 10 priority deeds for properties of interest to the Atlanta public school system so that they can sell them right away and use the resources to help our kids in APS. They deserve it. We should move it. Y'all didn't know y'all were going to get $10 million in there. Y'all know I had a good holiday, didn't you? So warm and fuzzy. I'm also inspired by those among us who know it's never too late to learn in this life. We're familiar with the story of someone who goes to a great Atlanta university, and then maybe they end up in City Hall. Trust me, I'm lucky to work with a lot of those individuals. Well, there's a guy named Daryl Moore, and he really did it the other way around. He worked in the kitchen at City Hall. I would see him there from time to time. He got there through the Atlanta Workforce Development Agency, which connects businesses with hard workers looking for jobs. And in the course of doing his job, what Daryl realized is that he really wanted a career. Today, he is enrolled in a bachelor's degree program after earning his certification in project management from Georgia Tech. Believe me, our city can be full of inspiring stories just like Daryl. We just have to keep believing in each other and keep helping one another. To make sure the brightest inventions and innovations are born inside of our city, we're supporting entrepreneurs who want to start their own companies. Last year, I promised we would have a sharper focus on supporting women entrepreneurs. This year, in the Flatiron Building, on the top floor of the building, just down the street from where we are, in our city's oldest skyscraper, our entrepreneurs are dreaming the newest dreams, giving life to grand ideals that are changing our community and impacting the world. That includes a talented group of innovators from the New Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative that I talked about last year. Well, today I'm thrilled to announce the inaugural class of women who through this program will receive mentorship, business coaching, and access to technology and office space at no cost to them. Will the women of the WE class of 2016 please stand and be recognized by the City of Atlanta? Congratulations to each and every one of you. I'm also excited about the nation's first film training partnership program, which is happening right here in the city of Atlanta. We're getting local residents work on the sets of movies and TV shows in one of our economy's fastest growing industries. We're training the next generation of leaders in this business, which will help to drive our state and local economy for decades to come. And you know what? Our investments are paying off. The film and entertainment industry in the city of Atlanta is now a $6 billion a year business for our city, our region, and our state. It's not bad. We've been called the Hollywood of the East. I don't care what you call us, because now we're the city of Atlanta is #3 in the country for our film and television business and #5 in the world. So you can call us what you want. But we have to make that industry work for local folks at home. And 2 weeks ago, MovieMaker.com named the city of Atlanta the best big city to live and work for movie makers. Atlanta isn't satisfied just to lead our region and our country in traditional ways. We've been doing that for some time. But we're also going to lead on the most important challenges facing all of us, a warming planet. A few weeks ago, I was in Paris for the historic climate conference. I joined more than 100 mayors from around the world, and I'm proud to say that Atlanta was the only southern city recognized for leading bold change. We're doing our part here at home to answer our moral obligation and build a clean energy economy that is necessary to cool our planet. We've launched a new program to install low-cost solar panels on our city's buildings. We've launched an electrical vehicle fleet. We're a leader in a national effort to conserve water and energy, and we've reduced our water consumption by 20%. And we're one of only 4 cities in the nation with an urban agricultural director who is working to solve the crisis of food deserts and rebuilding connections between our communities and our land. Today, others from around the world have taken note of Atlanta's leadership. We're not just a destination for businesses from around the country, but we're also a destination for immigrants from around the world, with the second fastest growing foreign-born population in America. Here in the cradle of the civil rights movement, we have to recognize that our city's strength comes from our diversity and resist the plagues of fear and division, and act against and stand up to those who have amnesia and refuse to recall a time when we were them. Because if you've been around long enough, we've been them before. Our Welcoming Atlanta initiative appreciates the entrepreneurial spirit many immigrants bring with them to our city. They become deeply involved in our community, investing their time, their money, and their hopes and their dreams where they live. The excitement of the future is knowing that it looks different from the past and that we have the power to shape it, and we will. We certainly shouldn't fear it. I believe our immigrant community is essential to building the Atlanta of the future, rooted in our unique and deep history. The third thing that we must do to create a more inclusive Atlanta is to strengthen our neighborhoods. That's why I'm committed to an inclusionary zoning effort. It might be a bit controversial for a city like Atlanta, but it's the right thing to do right now. And I'm going to need the Atlanta City Council's help to do it. Between the city, the Atlanta Housing Authority, and the Land Bank Authority, we have more than 1,000 acres we can use to hedge against rising rental and home prices in prime real estate areas and secure more affordable housing that will strengthen our schools, businesses, and neighborhoods. If you're wondering why we need to do it right now, the only thing that I would ask you to do is to look at some of the leading cities of the world, like London, New York, and San Francisco. And while I'm not comparing us to us in that fashion, what I do contend is that we've got to take this on early and think it through. But we cannot do it alone. So today I call on our partners in Fulton County to commit to an affordable housing policy as well. I'm going to ask our county partners to ensure that any public dollars that are used to subsidize a housing development in the city of Atlanta, that there is a guaranteed component for affordable housing. Now, if public funds are required for a project to move forward, then teachers, firefighters, police officers, and the people who keep our city running on a day-to-day basis should be able to live there as well. This needs to happen right away. When we work together, we can accomplish so much more. Community matters. These are the values that drive me to strengthen our neighborhoods by creating spaces where kids can keep active and safe and have healthy schools. We've reopened 33 recreation centers and 16 centers of hope in my administration that support them academically, strengthen them physically, and help them develop character and leadership skills. Last year, we provided 65,000 hot meals that our young people might otherwise not have gotten. And it's no coincidence that as the doors to these centers opened up, teen crime rates came down by more than 20%. The Centers of Hope aren't just serving our youngest, they're also helping save some of them. Before we're done, we'll reopen the new Martin Luther King Jr. Natatorium in the historic Old Fourth Ward, a world-class facility that will also ensure that the spaces that bear Dr. King's name are positive places that appropriately honor his legacy. And with the help of the Dean of the Atlanta City Council, C.T. Martin, we will make sure that Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in the city of Atlanta is the best Martin Luther King Jr. Drive in the United States of America. It should be so, and it will be so. To back up my words, we're launching a $40 million effort to improve that corridor. The fourth thing we have to do to ensure that everyone in our city can succeed is to support our families. I'm pleased to announce that within the next 120 days, the City of Atlanta will launch a comprehensive center for fathers that mentors young men, helps them grow their strengths in parenting, math, reading, and other life skills, offers individual counseling and support groups for father-child activities, and of course, job services. Our community and our state and our country needs this, and we can't walk away from it. 1 in 3 children in America now grows up without a father in their home, and those children are 4 times more likely than their peers to live in poverty and end up in lives of crime. This is an investment worth making sure that there will be more dads like the one I'm blessed to have, who know the pride of watching their children meet promise and achievement again and again. Thank you, Dad, for loving me and for sticking with me and believing in me. When our daughter was born, I saw firsthand how important it is for a newborn child to have a loving parent with her for the first weeks and months of her life. So as a city, we also need to bring our leave policies in line with good parenting. That's why I was so proud to make Atlanta the first local government in Georgia to offer 6 weeks paid parental leave for mothers and primary caregivers. I'm going to push, and I hope others will push and encourage other governments and private businesses to follow suit. Because if we want families to be proud to call Atlanta home, we have to value them for their entire lives. We can stand up for families by standing up for our women employees. This year, we will achieve our goal of making sure every woman employee of the City of Atlanta receives equal pay for equal work. It's 2016, Atlanta. It's time. going to be a happy City Hall today. It's going to be some men that get some raises too. They didn't even know they're going to get boosted up too. Atlanta, our city is ascendant. We're really at a moment right now. But I don't think that we should be surprised. When we got the $30 million Choice Neighborhoods grant, it really was all about improving fairness and equity in the city of Atlanta. But we have so much more to do right here, right now. My friends, our great city was built on ashes, not once, but twice. So imagine what we can do when we build on this success now that the state of our city is strong again. Every day, I draw hope from all of you. That's why I'm as energized and as optimistic today as the day you gave me the gift of the public trust and made me your mayor. That's why after 2,222 days in this job, I still believe in Atlanta, and I hope you still believe in me. A few weeks ago, I was with Reverend C.T. Vivian, and he said something that has stuck with me ever since that day. He stood up so eloquently at more than 90 years of age and said gracefully that each great achievement demands an even greater achievement. That really is our story. That's why we have such great plans for the city this year, building on all that has been accomplished before us and everything that's been done up to now. That's why we have no plans to stop, to get tired. That's how we'll make ourselves worthy of the progress